accidentally turned on my camera during online class, and my teacher saw something unbelievable. It was a typical Wednesday morning, the kind where you're half awake, still nursing that regret from the weekend, and trying desperately to pretend you're paying attention in Zoom class. I was taking a college psychology lecture, a requirement I barely cared about, but had to pass. The professor, Miss Reynolds, was known to be strict, the type who notices everything, even a twitch in your eyebrow. My laptop was set up at my cluttered desk, surrounded by laundry piles and empty coffee cups. Honestly, my dorm room was a mess, but that was on me. During the lecture, I'd been texting my roommate about what we should order for lunch when I accidentally hit the wrong button. My camera popped on. I froze. What she saw wasn't me exactly. Not really. Behind me, in the dim corner of my room, was the most bizarre thing anyone could imagine. A huge inflatable dinosaur costume, you know. Those giant T-Rex ones people wear for Halloween and parties. Why was it there? Because the night before, my friends and I had tried to have a virtual costume party. The inflatable T-Rex had been bouncing around my room like a clumsy monster, knocking over lamps and almost breaking my window. And it was still there, deflated and half-folded, but unmistakable. For a split second, I thought about quickly turning the camera off, but it was too late. I saw the cursor move. Ms. Reynolds was muting me, but she hadn't turned my camera off yet. And then she said it. "Is that a T-Rex in your room, Daniel?" The class erupted in laughter. I wanted to die. I scrambled to find the stop video button, but tripped over my chair, sending it clattering back. The T-Rex costume shifted, looking like it was about to stand up and join the class. Ms. Reynolds' voice was amused now. "You might want to. Hide your prehistoric roommate." Laughter exploded through the Zoom chat. The chat box was filling with emojis, dinosaurs, laughing faces, and comments like, "Best Zoom background ever," and "Teach us your dinosaur wisdom." I blushed so hard I thought my webcam might overheat. Ms. Reynolds, surprisingly, didn't shut me down or scold me. Instead, she smiled and said, "All right, class. Looks like Daniel's bringing some Jurassic energy today. Let's take a 5-minute break, and Daniel, maybe put that T-Rex somewhere less visible." When the break ended, I swore I heard her whisper to a colleague, "We need to keep this kid in mind. He's got personality." The next day, things got weirder. I got a private message from Ms. Reynolds. "Hey Daniel, you made today's lecture way more memorable than I expected. Ever think about joining the drama club?" I laughed. "Me? Drama? The shy guy who accidentally made a dinosaur the star of the class." But then, something clicked. Maybe this dinosaur moment was the break I needed, a chance to be more than just the quiet student in the back. I started showing up early for class, camera on, ready to participate. Ms. Reynolds noticed. She even asked me to help organize a virtual talent show. The T-Rex costume? It became my lucky charm, or at least the icebreaker that got me noticed. 1 month later, during a virtual class, Ms. Reynolds announced, "A special shootout to Daniel, who turned an accidental video mishap into a lesson on authenticity and courage." Sometimes, being yourself is the best thing you can do, even if it's a giant inflatable dinosaur behind you. The class clapped with emojis and typed "legend" in the chat. That's how an embarrassing mistake turned into my best semester yet, and how a T-Rex became the unofficial mascot of our psychology class. After the T-Rex incident, things changed, but not in the way I expected. The class was buzzing with energy every time I spoke. Ms. Reynolds even asked me to share my thoughts on some topics during lectures. One day, though, something happened that made me realize this new attention wasn't all fun and games. It was during a group project meeting on Zoom. I was paired with a few classmates, and we were supposed to brainstorm ideas for our final paper. As we talked, one of them, Jake, started poking fun not at me, but at the whole dinosaur guy thing. "Hey, Daniel, maybe you should wear that costume for the presentation. Could be your thing, right?" Everyone laughed, but I felt that sting. The line between teasing and disrespect is thin. I said nothing. But later that night, I found myself wondering if the T-Rex was becoming a mask I was stuck wearing. That week, Ms. Reynolds called me after class. "Daniel, can I be honest?" "Of course. I know that moment made you popular, but I don't want you to lose yourself in it. You're more than just the guy with the inflatable dinosaur." I nodded. "Yeah, I'm starting to feel that. Remember, Authenticity isn't about a single moment, it's about who you are every day. That hit me hard. I decided to be more open. I shared parts of my real story with the group, how I struggled to focus, how I felt invisible before the T-Rex, how I wanted to be seen for who I was, not just a joke. The group listened. For the first time, I felt like I belonged, not because of a costume, but because I was real. Ms. Reynolds helped me organize a small presentation about the psychology of identity, how people wear masks to fit in, but find freedom when they drop them. The presentation was a hit. Afterwards, Jake came up to me. "Hey man, I was a jerk. Sorry if I made you feel bad." I smiled. "Thanks, Jake. We all have our moments." The dinosaur? It's still in my room. But now it's a reminder that sometimes, the weirdest moments lead you exactly where you need to be. A few weeks after my presentation, something totally unexpected happened. Ms. Reynolds reached out to me again, but this time, it wasn't about class. "Daniel, I want to nominate you for the university's Student Spotlight. You've inspired a lot of people, and I think your story needs to be shared." I was stunned. Me? A spotlight? I'd always been the quiet kid blending into the background, not the one who stands in front of a crowd. She encouraged me to write about my experience, the T-Rex moment, the struggle with identity, the journey towards self-acceptance. I spent nights typing out my story, nervous but honest. The day of the Spotlight event, I logged into the virtual auditorium. Hundreds of students, professors, even some alumni were watching. When my story played on the screen, I saw faces light up with laughter, surprise, and then respect. Afterward, a flood of messages came in. "Your story made me laugh and cry. Thank you for being real. You gave me courage to be myself." Even Ms. Reynolds messaged, "Proud of you, Daniel. You're exactly who you're supposed to be." That night, I sat in my room, the T-Rex costume folded neatly in the corner. I realized I wasn't just the guy who accidentally showed a dinosaur on camera. I was a guy who took a chance, embraced his awkwardness, and turned it into strength. Sometimes, the weirdest, most embarrassing moments lead to the best parts of your story. The semester was winding down, and I felt like a different person from the guy who had nervously joined that first Zoom call. The T-Rex had become more than a costume. It was a symbol of growth, resilience, and finding humor in the chaos. One afternoon, Ms. Reynolds sent a message inviting me to a private Zoom call. My heart raced, wondering what she wanted. When I joined, she smiled warmly. "Daniel, the department is hosting a virtual event next month. Embracing imperfection. They want you to be the keynote speaker." I blinked. "Me? But I'm just a student." "Exactly. Your story shows that perfection isn't the goal. Being real is. You inspire people." I swallowed my nerves. The day of the event, I stood in front of my camera, the T-Rex costume tucked away but still in my mind. I told my story, the accidental camera on, the laughter, the doubts, the growth. I spoke about embracing who you are, even when life throws weird, unexpected moments your way. When I finished, the chat exploded with applause, emojis, and messages. Ms. Reynolds sent a message. "You were amazing. Proud doesn't even begin to cover it." Afterwards, Ava called. "I always knew you were a star." I smiled. "Thanks for believing in me, always." The T-Rex still sits in my room, a reminder that sometimes, your biggest embarrassment can become your greatest strength. And that being yourself, no matter how strange or unexpected, is the best way to grow. If you like this video, please subscribe for more.